Some of the things stealing your energy aren't loud, obvious, or even visible. They're quiet. Silent thieves you carry inside your mind every single day, like invisible chains wrapped around your body. And here's the brutal truth. If you don't cut them out, they'll drain you dry until even rest, sleep, and coffee can't bring you back. Today, I'm exposing 5 hidden energy drainers you must secretly remove. And once you hear them, you'll finally understand why you feel tired, stuck, and restless, no matter what you do. Now, let's get into it. There are people who, just by walking into the room, leave you feeling more tired than before. It's almost as if they carry a heavy storm cloud over their heads, and the moment you get too close, it spills right on top of you. These people drain your energy in silence, without asking or warning, and by the time you notice it, your inner battery is already flashing red. Think about it for a second. Every conversation feels like a workout, yet you haven't even moved a muscle. They turn small problems into giant mountains and fill the air with drama that doesn't belong to you. Instead of leaving you fresh or inspired after spending time together, you walk away craving rest and sleep just to recover from the emotional insomnia they cause. Of course, it's important to understand that everyone has bad days, and nobody is expected to be cheerful all the time. The difference is that energy drainers treat negativity like a habit, and complaining becomes their daily exercise routine. They call it sharing or venting, but in reality, they are pouring their problems into your cup until it overflows with fatigue and tension. Some people may argue that keeping your distance is selfish, but protecting your energy is the farthest thing from selfishness. Think about when you're on a plane and the oxygen masks drop. They always tell you to put on your own mask first, because only then can you help others. Without boundaries, you end up gasping for emotional air and unable to show up for the people who truly matter. It all comes down to habits, the little choices that decide whether you stay strong or stay drained. If you allow these people to take your peace, your sleep, and your joy every single day, you are training your brain to accept exhaustion as normal. And when your mind is tired, decisions become heavier, clarity disappears, and life feels like you are walking in circles. The solution is not to run away from everyone, but to create boundaries that protect your energy and your time. That can be as simple as limiting conversations, gently steering the topic to something lighter, or simply choosing not to answer every call or message immediately. When you choose wisely who you let into your space, your days feel brighter and your body feels more fresh. And here's the most powerful truth. When you start respecting your energy, the people who truly value you will respect it too. The ones who don't will slowly disappear on their own, and that's a blessing in disguise. Because your life was never meant to be a recycling bin for negativity. It was meant to be fueled by energy that keeps you awake, alive, and ready for what's coming next. The someday mentality is sneaky because it feels harmless, but it silently drains your energy every single day. It sounds like this. Someday I'll start exercising. Someday I'll write that book. Or someday I'll finally get proper rest. The problem is, someday never shows up on the calendar. And meanwhile your dreams gather dust while your spirit grows tired. This habit creates invisible weight, the kind of fatigue that doesn't come from physical work but from carrying unfulfilled promises inside your mind. Every time you postpone action, you teach yourself that delay is acceptable, and that chips away at your confidence. It's like telling your brain, "Don't worry, we'll sleep on it," except you never really wake up to do it. The danger is that someday feels safe, like a soft pillow that lets you rest without guilt. But in reality, it's a thief disguised as comfort. Each time you say it, you give away a little piece of energy, and slowly your passion fades. Before you know it, years pass and you wonder why you feel stuck, drained, and restless at the same time. Let's be real. Nobody gets fresh motivation from waiting. Energy comes from movement, from doing even small steps that break the chain of delay. Imagine a river that stops flowing. It doesn't stay calm. It turns stagnant. The same thing happens to your spirit when you live in someday. No flow means no energy, only insomnia of the soul. The someday mentality is a habit that tricks you into believing you are saving effort, when in reality you are spending it. You spend it worrying, overthinking, and imagining how things could be different. That drains more energy than actually starting the task itself. Taking the first step may feel scary, but it's always lighter than carrying endless what-ifs. So how do you break this cycle? Replace someday with specific actions and timelines, even if they are small. Instead of saying, "Someday I'll sleep earlier," decide, "Tonight I will shut down my phone by 10. Instead of, "Someday I'll exercise," start with 5 minutes today. Each small win is like plugging your spirit back into the charger. When you finally kick out the someday mindset, you feel a surge of energy that no amount of extra sleep could ever give. Because action creates momentum, and momentum creates confidence. And here's the secret. The more you act today, the less tired you feel tomorrow, because you stop carrying the weight of procrastination. That's the power waiting for you in the present moment. One of the biggest drains on your energy is the constant need to explain yourself to everyone around you. Every decision turns into a courtroom session where you're the defendant, presenting your reasons and hoping for approval. It may sound harmless, but over time, this habit leaves you tired, restless, and desperate for a little mental rest. The truth is, not everyone deserves an explanation for your choices. When you spend your sleep hours rehearsing what to say, or rethinking what you should have said, you are leaking energy that could be used to actually live. It's like pouring water into a bucket full of holes. No matter how much you add, it never stays full. Explaining yourself over and over also feeds insomnia, because your mind never shuts off. You replay conversations, imagine how others judged you, and end up drained before the next day even begins. That's why this habit is so exhausting. It turns every decision into homework and every interaction into an exam. The result is a constant fatigue that no nap or quick rest can solve, because it isn't physical, it's emotional. Of course, there's nothing wrong with being clear when needed, but doing it compulsively, trying to make everyone understand your habits or lifestyle, is like running a race with no finish line. You can't control who agrees or disagrees, so you waste energy trying to fix what was never yours to fix. And the more you try to justify yourself, the more you teach others that your choices are open for debate. Think of it this way. A tree never explains why it grows in one direction and not the other. It simply stands tall, takes the sunlight, and continues growing without asking for permission. You have the same right to follow your path without giving speeches every step of the way. You don't need to justify your rest, your sleep schedule, your goals, or your priorities, because living them is explanation enough. When you stop explaining yourself to everyone, you suddenly notice how much fresh air enters your life. Your energy feels lighter because you are no longer dragging the heavy backpack of approval that was never truly yours to carry. You realize that silence itself can be powerful. Not everything requires words. Sometimes your actions speak the loudest. And when your actions are clear, your energy naturally attracts respect without needing endless explanations. Here's the best part. Once you break this draining habit, you gain back precious hours, more sleep, and a mind that feels truly rested. All that extra energy doesn't just sit there. It pushes you toward bigger things, because you finally stop defending your life and start living it. That freedom is priceless, because it turns fatigue into strength and hesitation into momentum. And the more you embrace it, the more you'll feel like you've been carrying unnecessary weight for years. One of the most silent killers of energy is the habit of constant comparison. You scroll through social media, See someone traveling, buying a new car, or waking up looking fresh, and suddenly you feel smaller. It's like your brain forgets all the good in your own life and becomes tired from chasing someone else's highlight reel. Comparison is tricky because it often hides behind motivation. You tell yourself, I'm just getting inspired, but deep down, you're actually draining your energy by stacking your life against someone else's. Instead of rest, your mind gets restless. Instead of sleep, you replay images of how much better others are doing. And that spiral feeds insomnia. It's worth remembering that comparison is never fair. You're comparing your behind the scenes with someone else's carefully edited movie. You see their success but not their late nights, their doubts, or their struggles. That illusion makes you fatigued because you're fighting an invisible battle that can't be won. Think about a runner who keeps turning his head to check the other lanes. He loses speed, loses focus, and eventually loses energy. That's exactly what constant comparison does. It distracts you from your own race. Your habits, your timing, and your path are unique, and comparing them with others only steals your strength. When you let go of comparison, you find rest in your own rhythm. You realize that progress is not about being ahead of someone else, but about being ahead of who you were yesterday. That simple shift recharges your energy because it turns competition into growth. And growth, unlike comparison, actually makes you feel fresh and alive. It helps to remember that what looks like success for someone else may not even fit your life. Maybe they sacrificed their sleep, their peace, or their relationships to get what you admire. Would you really want the whole package? Often, you're envying a picture without knowing the full cost behind it. Here's the real secret. When you stop wasting energy comparing, you suddenly free up fuel to build your own path. You stop chasing shadows and start creating substance. That's when fatigue turns into focus, and focus turns into results. And with every step forward, you'll feel lighter, stronger, and more awake for the next challenge ahead. The victim mindset is one of the heaviest thieves of energy, and the worst part is that it often hides inside without being noticed. It sounds like, why does this always happen to me? Or, I can't change anything. Life is just unfair. Living in this mental space keeps you tired, restless, and craving rest that never seems to arrive. When someone adopts this habit, every challenge becomes a reason to give up instead of a reason to grow. They trade responsibility for excuses, and in doing so, they drain their own energy before even trying. This mindset creates constant fatigue because it convinces the brain that effort is useless, and nothing is more exhausting than hopelessness. The victim mindset also feeds insomnia because instead of sleeping peacefully, the mind stays busy blaming circumstances, people, or luck. It replays the same story over and over. If only things were different, then I'd be happy. But the truth is, no amount of wishing can replace action, and without action, life stays stuck. It's important to understand that bad things happen to everyone, but staying in victim mode makes pain heavier than it needs to be. Imagine carrying a backpack of rocks, but instead of putting it down, you keep adding more. That's exactly what happens when you choose to focus only on problems. It weighs on your energy until even small tasks feel impossible. Breaking free starts with small habits that shift the focus from blame to responsibility. Instead of asking, why me? Try asking, what can I do next? That single change sparks energy because it puts you back in control. And nothing restores strength faster than realizing you still have choices, even when life feels unfair. The victim mindset also isolates you because people who constantly complain push others away. Nobody wants to spend their limited energy listening to endless stories of helplessness. By letting go of this habit, you not only free your own mind, but you also invite fresh, uplifting people into your circle who make you stronger instead of weaker. Here's the truth. Every time you step out of victim mode, you reclaim a piece of your power. You stop wasting energy blaming and start fueling your future. That shift doesn't just make you less tired, it makes you fully alive. And once you taste the freedom of responsibility, you'll never go back to the heaviness of excuses again. Now that you know the 5 energy drainers secretly stealing your strength, the next step is simple. Start removing them one by one. Don't wait until you're completely tired, burned out, or trapped in endless fatigue. The sooner you take action, the faster you'll feel truly fresh again. Ask yourself this: which of these drainers has been weighing you down the most? Is it people, habits, or your own mindset? The moment you get honest about it, you'll realize you've had the power to recharge all along. And that shift is what transforms restless sleep into real rest. So here's your challenge. Pick one drainer and start cutting it out today. Protect your energy like it's your most valuable resource, because it is. And when you do, you'll be shocked at how awake, alive, and focused you feel. If you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay tuned. We've got more coming to help you build habits that energize instead of exhaust. Until next time, protect your energy, protect your peace, and never let the hidden thieves win.